Oh, good afternoon, people. We recently went to see How to Train Your Dragon live action yesterday. I, since finding out about it, have been 50-50 on whether or not it was going to be good or not. Mainly because I don't trust live action. But what I did see with the trailer was it seemed okay at first. Then they sent out the scene of them all in the fighting arena. Didn't seem like they could act that well. But then when put in the film, it's actually not so bad. Noisy people. But yeah, they put a completely different cast to the original. I think the only original people in that cast were Gerard Butler as Stoic and the original director. I don't think anyone else was original. They'd switched out the twins, so instead of them looking almost identical, they were two completely different people who thought they looked identical. Wasn't really it wasn't anything like the original, and they'd scrapped all the original jokes, which I didn't really like that much, considering I'm a person who knows every word of the first film, possibly the second and the third, because I'm that big of a fan. So when I heard they were doing live action, I was like, you're gonna screw this up, and they sort of screwed it up. What were your thoughts on it?
I'm not like a massive fan of the original, but I enjoyed it. For live action, I did enjoy it. I liked the CG on it. There was a few iffy spots, like towards the end of the film when he's walking with his one leg, and it's like a scene where he's holding onto the Toothless and walking towards the door. All of that, where it's like a back shot of him, is CGI. You can see it, which I felt like that was really noticeable. But what I do like about it, I like how they sort of built the diverse cast into the the world.
Yeah, because they removed Stoic's entire speech of so who's with me? No one wants to go. Anybody who stays gets to look after Hiccup. To the ships!
Yeah.
They completely removed that and added in an entire speech about how everyone in Burke is from different cultures. I was going to say civilizations, but that didn't sound right for Vikings. But from diverse backgrounds, as if to say to the people who have seen the original and know what the original is, like, why is everyone so diverse? Because they weren't originally that diverse in the beginning. In the original one, I think they were all Scottish, except for the younger generation who didn't have Scottish accents. I think what would have made it better is because they added Shout Loud's character, it's not Loud's dad, into it more than usual. If they'd gotten the original voice actor to play him, which was David Tennant, if they'd gotten David Tennant to play him, I think that would have been better.
I've had to bulk him up a lot though.
Yeah, but I mean, still would have been funny.
Yeah, I feel like that was well done. I like the setting and like the filming locations. I think they're really good.
Oh yeah, like even without all the props there are videos of the actual locations. They look amazing. The amount of drone shots and helicopter shots they must have had to get for that, both before and after they put the prop sets down. Wow.
Yeah, and there were a lot of scenes that were like really faithful to the original. Like what's the one they call it? Test drive.
Oh,
They call it
romantic
test
flight.
drive.
Or are you
No,
referring to
when he throws the little note away?
when he throws his cheat sheet? Yeah, they've mixed up the line. Well, they haven't mixed up the lines. They removed all of the lines for it, except for "This is amazing" and "cheat sheet."
Yeah, they remixed a lot of the songs as well, which you weren't a fan of.
No, I love the originals. I say they are the
They
best.
did. I haven't seen it, but they did something similar with the Lilo and Stitch live action, right? Where they had the original song completely redone by a different musician. And it's not something that's like a massive difference, but sort of like when you're used to the original and like that's all you've ever known, and then you hear a slight difference in the songs and the music, it feels like a completely different thing. So it breaks away from like your immersion a little bit there, because
Yeah.
but it's all based on like expectations and stuff. But
Yeah, because I think when they originally put it out, they thought maybe we shouldn't be so close to a road. But yeah, when they first announced it, it must have been before the Snow White live action was announced, wasn't it? Or was it just around the same time?
I don't know.
Because they announced it back in, I want to say 2023, end of 2023?
I wasn't really paying attention.
Beginning of 2020. No, it would have been 2023 because I remember talking about it. And I didn't know who they'd cast yet, and then found out who the cast was. I will say I wasn't the biggest fan of the girl they'd originally cast for Astrid. Obviously, because she doesn't look like the main character, and I wasn't sure of what her acting skill level was. Because I don't know who she is. I don't think I've seen her in anything. I think they said she's been in one of the zombie things. I can't remember what it was, but I don't really watch zombie things, so I'm not aware of her acting skill. But she then went on to doing the pre-promotion, all the interviews and stuff, referring to how it was a really big honour to do that role. And I thought, you know what, you're actually doing a hell of a better job than the girl who was picked to play Snow White. Who decided to say, oh yeah, I didn't like the original Snow White. I was actually really scared of it. So instead we scrapped the whole idea and made her a girl boss. Like, if she'd done that, I would have... no, it would have been a worse rating.
Yeah, but then again, I feel like Astrid, even in the original, was a bit of a girl boss, so...
No, Astrid herself, I'm talking about the girl who
But
played
like,
Snow White.
Yeah.
Because she said...
but what I'm saying is the new actress couldn't have said that she didn't like the original Astrid because she's like too meek or whatever, because the original Astrid is...
Yeah, no, she's far from it.
Yeah.
No.
But I feel like in general you have to be like careful with live action remakes, because it's, as I said before, it's all about expectation, right? It's a cash grab essentially for fans of the original.
Yeah.
But I feel like as far as like live action remakes go, this one was good because it changed enough to make it feel sort of original, but it's also kept enough of the source material that makes old fans enjoy it.
Yeah. Do you want to take it?
But yeah, I mean, as I said, you've got to be really careful with live action remakes because a lot of people will see them as just cash grabs.
Yeah, because I think they said Disney's first animated movie was Snow White, and the fact that they fucked it up so badly with the live action.
There was a lot of things.
They had so many people really angry with them and pissed off over that because they'd ruined the original story. Whereas another reason I wasn't a big fan of live actions isn't just because I've seen Disney fuck it up so much. I know How to Train Your Dragon is not Disney, it's DreamWorks. I love DreamWorks. They do really, if anything, I personally think they do better animation films than Disney. And I think this was one of their first, if not their first, live action. And the fact that they didn't completely fuck it up is
a step in the right direction.
Is a good sign, because apparently live action is incredibly difficult to do. I think they could have done slightly less detail on the CGI dragons, because when I first saw the CGI, like just a screenshot of the CGI Toothless, I will be fair, I did kind of look like, I did say that he kind of looked like a certain adult toy in the scene where he's putting his hand on his face. The way his neck bends with his head, he does look a bit like a certain type of adult toy.
What adult toy?
I'm not saying that, I'm not getting demonetized.
I didn't get any of that, FYI.
I said that to you originally when you showed me the screenshot. I said he looks like that.
Yeah, if I had to pick a live action remake that I'd want to see, Disney Pixar Cars, like extremely realistic and just like really realistic eyeballs just poking out the windscreen.
What, like big round ones.
Yeah.
But then how would they work with that? Because the metal sheets would have to go around the eyes.
I don't know how they'd do it. They'd find a way. But Disney Pixar's was like, Disney Pixar Cars was like my favourite film growing up. Like I was a massive fan. I had all the merch and everything. So like even that like VHS TV that was shaped like Lightning McQueen, I had that, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I remember Ben had a Lightning McQueen toy. It was one of those where it's got that like button, not button, but it was like a pull button on the top where if you pulled it, the eyelids would come up. And then it also had, if you pressed it down, he would say, ka-chow!
Yeah.
I think we still got that somewhere and it's covered in marker pen.
Fun story actually, the only time I've ever been like close, well, as a child I felt like I was close to getting arrested, is I bought the soundtrack on CD from my local Asda and I didn't take the receipt, and so I walked out without the receipt and the alarms went off and I felt like I was going to get arrested. But it was all worth it because the whole car ride back, it was just life is a highway, and it was awesome.
He still makes me play that in the car.
It's a good song.
It is.
Even to this day.
It is.
It's a fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it was a good movie. It was fine.
What, the dragons?
Yeah.
We're still on that. I was just making sure. I didn't think you were talking about the cars. Overall rating, I think I'd give it...
Wait. Question for you. If any of you have seen Disney Pixar Cars, write in the comments what you think would be the car that they would pick for Lightning McQueen. I'm thinking maybe like a Chevrolet Camaro or a Corvette. One of those cars.
I was thinking that, because I know some car companies actually do projects together to create certain cars. I think it would be those two to come together to create. So it would probably be the body of the Camaro, or what was the other one you said?
A Corvette. But the front of the Corvette's too like pointy, I think.
Yeah, I think it would be the body of Camaro and then like the engine of the Corvette sort of thing.
But it'd have to be fast,
Yeah.
like Lightning McQueen. And they have to bring back the original voice actor.
Who was the original voice actor?
Wow. What's his name? Wow.
No, what?
I don't know what.
You don't know what his name is?
The cowboy in Night in the Museum. The little cowboy man.
Oh!
I can't remember his name.
I don't know his name.
And the guy from Marley and Me.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the more original voice actors they could have gotten for the film, the better it would have been. And if they kept to the original script and not drifted off from it so much, it probably would have been better. But my overall rating of it would probably have to be 5 or 5.5 for the whole thing. It would have been really funny to see David Tennant and Gerard Butler on the scene again. I know Hiccup's voice actor doesn't really look like him. Neither does Astrid's, or any of them really. But people who not only sound like them but also would have looked like them would have been the better bet for at least the super fans and people who know the original film. Because if we're going off the book, Toothless is tiny. He's the size of a terrible terror. But obviously they couldn't have done that for him to be ridden. He would have been squashed. The Red Death itself, though, that was pretty cool looking.
Yeah, I didn't like... What's the fiery one? Not Monstrous Nightmare.
Oh, Monstrous Nightmare, no. Monstrous Nightmare literally looked like...
yeah, it looked like it crawled out like Game of Thrones or something.
It looks like a skeleton that's barely holding onto its skin. It was not flattering.
Yeah.
Considering Hook Fang was actually slightly chubbier than that in the original animation film. No one screamed Night Fury except at the beginning.
What do you think of the Hiccup actor?
I think he's alright, but I think they all have... When meshing together, I think they need to work on their acting. Because in certain scenes, even with Gerard Butler, he cannot act for it. I think the best acting out of all that for Gerard Butler would have been when he says to Hiccup, "You're not a Viking, you're not my son," and then goes outside the door.
I know what... I think it's DreamWorks. I know what DreamWorks should do next for live action. Turbo, the little snail. That would be good.
I haven't even seen the full thing of Turbo, but yeah.
It's got like an insane voice acting cast for like a movie about a snail that races.
Yeah, but knowing then, they won't get the whole
Probably
cast.
not. But I think I can't even remember who's in it.
I think the only reason Gerard Butler got his original role back is because he looks like Stoic, and he's got the same build. If he didn't have the same build, or the same features, he would not have gotten that role. They had to find scrawny little Hiccup, someone who was scrawny enough to look like a 15-year-old, and I think they might have just given up on the others. Really.
Oh, so the main actor for Hiccup is 17 years old, I believe.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
So by the third movie, because I know they're making the next one by 2027.
I don't know if you can hear him through the wind. Apologies. I really hope you can be heard with this.
2020, was it 2027?
For what?
The next film.
Yeah, so the next, they've actually announced that the Dragons 2 will be coming out June 2027.
Alright. So, do you reckon by the time the third film comes out, he'll be old enough to grow the full facial hair for the end?
Well, if he
Because
can't...
I'm 24 and this is all I can get.
Yeah, if he can't grow the whole thing, they'll get special effects.
Yeah. You're going to have to
They'll stick it on. Yeah, they'll stick it on him. But I mean, he doesn't have that much stubble in the second one. He has a bit, noticeable enough, but not too much. And then, by the third one, man's got a whole bushy beard.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You know, live actions are weird. You kind of feel like you'd be excited for them. I know that, so growing up, some of my other favourite Disney films were Mulan and Hercules.
Yeah.
They've already done a Mulan one where they changed everything, right?
Did they?
I haven't seen it, but apparently they changed everything. She's got like a little sister or something.
When did that come out?
Years ago.
Oh, I didn't even know about that one.
Yeah, they changed like a bunch of stuff about it.
I love how the wind just suddenly stops.
If they were to do a live action Hercules, I'd be interested in it, but only if they didn't completely mess it up. Because I loved Hercules, and I love like that.
Hercules is Disney, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're gonna fuck it up.
Yeah, I love the mythology. For live actions, I'm going to make her watch Lilo and Stitch at some point. She doesn't like it for some reason. I grew up with like my mum being an Elvis nut.
I was told I had to look it up and confirm it that Toothless is based off of Stitch, and I do not like Stitch. For that reason, as well as just not liking Stitch in general. Toothless is cute, Stitch not so much, not in my opinion.
Yeah, my mum loved Elvis, so she was always partial to that film. I watched it a lot. But I actually really liked Lilo and Stitch for a long time. I watched all the films, like even the spin-off ones, like Leroy and Stitch. What the fuck is a...
Leroy and Stitch?
What's a Leroy?
Leroy!
Lilo and Stitch, I think there was a 2 as well, with like the little drawings, like bad, good, blah blah blah.
Do you know that the original Lilo and Stitch, with the spaceship, where they're flying over the mountains, was not the original scene?
I don't know.
So because the original Lilo and Stitch came out in 2001, the original scene for that was not mountains, it was the Twin Towers and it was a plane, and because of what happened at 9/11, they actually scrapped that entire thing, put mountains and changed it to a spaceship, apparently. That's all I've heard, but I have seen old leaked scenes of what it would have looked like.
Yeah, they did change some stuff in Lilo and Stitch. I know there was
Imagine the irony of that.
I think for the Disney Plus version, the online streaming service, they changed very slightly the part where the bigger sister leads Lilo into an oven or something, or a washer.
Yeah, no, that was. It was, because she comes out of a cupboard. I believe the original one was supposed to be, I think it was supposed to be a washing machine. And she was going to jokingly turn it on, and then she's supposed to open the door and then talk to her that way. But instead they changed it to the cupboard. Because they thought kids were going to start getting in the washing machines. To be fair, kids are pretty stupid. I wouldn't be surprised. If I'd seen that and I actually liked it, I probably would have done the same thing when I was younger.
As far as live action, getting back on topic, as far as live action movies go, I feel like it was a good one. But they always leave something to be desired. It's like, why did we have to wait years for this to be made when we always are going to prefer the original.
Yeah. They also completely cut out the terrible terror scene.
Yeah. They cut out like so much from the movie, but it still ended up with like an extra 30-minute runtime.
Yeah, because they said they were going to cut out the terrible terror scene where Hiccup is on the side of a cliff with Toothless, campfire, and they were eating fish. Terrible terrors come over, try to steal the fish from Hiccup, and that's when Hiccup realizes that dragons aren't all bad. But they decided to scrap it because he apparently comes to that realization before that scene even happens. So they decide, fuck it, we're just going to scrap that entire thing. The original film is an hour and a half long, and yet for some reason this one somehow managed to become 2 hours long.
Yeah.
They removed more and ended up, well, they removed some and ended up with more than what they originally had.
Yeah, they must have just like dragged some scenes a little bit here and there.
I'm telling you, they dragged those fight scenes. And I felt like there was way too much going on in each one of those fight scenes. The first one that comes up when they're awake, they're waking up and fighting the dragons, there was too much for me to keep an eye on.
Well, one thing that was really cool during the fights though, like in the training pit, the actress that did Astrid, I don't know if it was her that did the stunts or someone else, but the stunts in that were really cool. She was like flipping around all over the place, jumping off walls. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It was good.
I think for the jumping off walls, I think they use harnesses. But for the flips, they probably would have used a stunt double.
We should talk about the costume design as well.
Oh yeah.
I think the costume design was really well done.
Yeah, it was actually quite well. The only thing I would have said was, this was before I watched the film, this was months ago when they came out with the mini trailer of Hiccup sat on the side of a cliff overlooking the ocean, was he's wearing a green fleece and you can see the stitch marks of modern day.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's the only thing I can't get behind. Like, I get it, it's cold, it's Scotland or Ireland, I'm pretty sure it's Scotland they were using, but I'm not entirely sure. I get it, it's fucking freezing up that way. But at least hide the stitches.
Yeah, I don't know what like clothing and stitches looked like back in those days, but there were very obvious, neat seam lines on all the clothing, which kind of broke from the immersion. I first noticed it when he was...
I think that's where the end of the budget went.
Yeah, I first noticed when he was looking over like the crevice part that Toothless gets stuck in, where he like climbs over and pokes his head over. You could see it all along the back and the sleeve.
Yeah, I'm also convinced that for Toothless, they just copy-pasted the coding for the animation of the original and placed it in the CGI form of him, because he did not make very many movements that weren't identical to the original. I think the only parts the only parts that I could see that they changed when I wasn't being distracted by background noise and people in the background were when he's helping Hiccup to the door, the tail is supposed to be behind both of them, swaying slightly, but in the CGI one, it's off to the side as they're walking that way and then it's curling round to go that way.
Yeah.
That wasn't really the best idea, considering the only reason it was behind them in the first place was to represent that they both have the exact same side that they're missing, whereas when it's turned round it looks like Toothless is missing his right side and Hiccup's missing his left, even though they're both missing the left.
Right. Yeah, there was another part of the CGI that I noticed was kind of off. Is when he was...
a bit. Or do you want people to look up your cave? Any bats to the game?
No bats. But when he was trying to put the homemade tail fin on himself, where he sat on the tail.
Yeah.
That was like, you could really see that the CGI of the tail was really funky. I don't know what the budget for it was, but I would imagine a lot.
Majority of that budget went on that CGI. I'm telling you that now.
Considering how well the previous original movies did, the budget must have been high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Disney Pixar Cars live action when? ? That's what I want to know. And Turbo. I think Turbo should be the next one. Shrek live action, don't bother. But if you...
Are they actually going to...
What is that?
What?
Someone tell me what bug this is. That's horrendous.
You're going to have to focus it in.
Good lord!
I think it's a beetle.
Disgusting.
Because I saw it over there earlier, that's what I was staring at.
What a creature. That's vile. But yeah, Turbo, don't bother with Shrek.
Are they doing a live action Shrek?
Probably not.
No.
I would hope not.
I know they're doing a live action Moana.
Get out of my swamp!
Who are they going to do for that?
Me.
No, I mean, who
No, they cast me for it. They came to me for it, and I was like, cast me as Turbo, and I'll do it, but not Shrek.
Yeah. If anyone's got any suggestions on topics you want us to talk about, then I think we can do that.
Yeah. But,
depends on which ones they are, because we're not that knowledgeable.
maybe we'll take you ice skating one day, because I'm awesome.
Yeah.
She's terrible.
Yeah.
But I'm awesome.
He is. He can keep his balance very well.
Yeah, and I can not fall over.
He's not fallen over, which is
the main part.
That's silly, because you should fall over and then learn to get up, but he refuses to even do that.
Why should I fall over to learn to get up if I just can learn to never fall?
Because it's going to hurt even more.
If I fall, but I've learned not to fall.
Just watch for the day I catch him falling on video.
Yeah, but she bought me some very nice skates at some point.
We should show them that.
Yeah, they're like black figure skater skates, I think.
I can't remember the brand they are. I think it begins with a G.
If the camera's shaking, it's because I'm freezing.
Yeah, it is getting a bit cold now. Oh!
But yeah, this is her video, and I just hijacked it a bit.
It's our video. We try our best. I try and, well, I'm not actively trying not to look at the camera. It's quite difficult for me because...
Are you supposed to not?
No, when I speak, I can't keep my eyes in one place. That's just how I work. I mean, I try to look at it every once in a while, but it's difficult for me to keep my eyes in one area, especially on the...
Yeah, you can watch her as she's
screen.
doing it. The eyes are moving all over the place.
Yeah, I've been staring at literally anything but this entire time. Mainly you, but occasionally.
That's funny because I've
as
also
well.
been staring at myself.
You narcissistic little prick. Calm down, you're gonna give everyone a heart attack. He's dopey. He's only got one brain cell. And he shares it with Ben.
No, I've got two, and I run them together like money.
Fair enough.
Well, you should keep talking so we can hit 30 minutes.
Ooh.
Money.
What can we do for 2 more minutes?
Go on the swing.
I'll watch you jump off it a couple more times.
No, I don't want to roll my ankles.
Fair enough. What was your rating for Dragons?
As a film as a whole, or as compared to the original?
Well, I gave it for its own self, and for for its own self, it got a 5.5. Against the original, I'd have to give it a 2.
That's harsh.
2, 2.5, maybe a 3.
As someone that's not like a massive fan of it, but enjoys it, I would say I'd give it, compared to the original, I would give it a solid like 7. If the original is a 10, I'd give it a 7.
Which it is.
As its own standalone movie, I would say I'd give it an 8 as a standalone movie, but I feel like it would be slightly higher if I hadn't seen the original beforehand.
I don't know, because they do miss a lot of context in the live action, and they also remove a lot of the context on purpose, such as when he's figuring out the dragons aren't all that bad, and they speak about what's happening physically too much. They also got rid of the scene where Hiccup gets caught with the connecting ropes to the saddle, where they fall.
Yeah.
They removed that scene because in that scene they're flying. They're doing another little test before the original where they're falling, and he gets caught. The buckle bends, and so he's got to sneak Toothless into the village without anyone seeing him, just to try and get it off.
Yeah.
And then Astrid almost catches them, but they manage to escape. They removed that one as well. There is a fox over there, I can see.
I'm glad they removed that scene.
I'm not, because that was really funny.
I feel like it was kind of annoying. It kind of dragged a bit.
Astrid, hi. Astrid, hi.
Astrid.
Astrid, hi. What are you doing here? You're acting weirder than usual, and that's saying something. Well, and then runs off.
The camera's been shaking progressively more. I'm just cold.
I'll try and take it for a bit. I mean, I'm just as cold as you are, so we'll probably head back in a moment. But yeah, what was I saying? Remix of the original music should not have been done, because John Powell's original music, just for my own sanity, I personally think is the best orchestra in the world. I don't care for Beethoven, any of the others. They can all go somewhere else. That's not me. John Powell. Test Drive, Romantic Flight, all of them. Fucking love them.
Yeah, I'm gonna make her watch the new Superman film when that comes out.
I'm okay with that.
Maybe we'll do a review of that.
I'm okay with that. Only because I made you watch every How to Train Your Dragon film and series. Well, I haven't made you watch the series.
No, I watched one of them.
Which one?
The one that takes place before the second one. Just before.
Oh, that's
Race to the Edge.
Yeah, that's Race to the Edge. So you haven't actually seen Defenders of Berk, or
No.
Or what was it called? I should know this. I know it. It's Defenders of Berk, Race to the Edge, and because there's holiday ones. I think there's like 2 holiday ones, and then they also came out with, it's the name of their little island because they move out onto a completely new island.
I don't know what that's called.
It'll come to me eventually, and then I'll feel really stupid for not remembering it. But yeah, there was that. There was one thing in the original that didn't really make sense. Was at the end of the 3rd film, Hiccup takes them to go see Toothless, his kids to go see Toothless, and they're frightened of him. But then they come out with a holiday special right after, where Hiccup is making a play about Toothless and everything in their history to their kids, so that they can imagine what happened with their parents and stuff. And Toothless shows up to save Hiccup because he put himself in a metal mascot of all things and fallen off the side of the cliff, and his eldest had seen him, and she was freaked out at first, but then she was no longer scared because she found out he was like really friendly, and she kept going on and on and on after, because Hiccup didn't see him. He was blinded by all the smoke and falling. No one else saw Toothless except for their eldest, and they kept saying, "What are you on about?" But she wasn't scared then, so that wouldn't really make sense if she was scared in the 3rd film. I can't tell if the ending of the 3rd film happened after the holiday special or before the holiday special, because she's scared in both of those.
It would probably be...
It would make more sense if the holiday special happens before the ending of the 3rd film.
Yeah.
Because she didn't seem as scared in the 3rd one at the end.
And at the end of the 3rd film, they were wearing winter coats as well, so maybe...
Yeah.
It was after Christmas, after the holiday Christmas special.
Possibly. But the little night lights are so cute.
Lord, I'm tweaking.
Yeah. We're gonna head back now then, I guess. Anything else to add for now?
Stay tuned for Live Action Turbo and Pause.
Yeah. Any topics you want us to talk about, by all means.
Watch the original Turbo. You'll love it.
Yes. Would you like to say it, or shall we both?
Whisper it to me. I forgot. Okay, I got it.
Is it just you?
Yeah, both of us. Count us down.
3, 2, 1.
May your God go with you.